you. I hope the translation is working. You can type in the chat. And so welcome back. And this topic has attracted a lot of attention because we often see this image of the iceberg and the conscious mind as above the water, subconscious as below. So evidently it is a huge thing and matters. So what is underneath and what is in the subconscious? Is it the habits and beliefs? And is there anything else? How does it differ in this philosophy than in the ordinary understanding in psychology? And can we influence or heal it? Is this what our aim is? And if so, what would the method be? These are some of the things that came up in my mind. I'm sure you have many questions and thoughts. So I'm going to hand over now and we will be exploring and experimenting on this practical subject. So welcome and hello to Prashant.
Hello and good morning and very nice to meet again. Also an opportunity for us to quickly revise some of the basics. And today the discussion will be on the subconscious. But before we come to the subject, let us create a few minutes at the conscious level. Let us be more conscious. And that is all our effort. The main reason we are here is that we want to be conscious. That invisible soul needs to be made conscious. If he is conscious, he will discover that he is the invisible prince. This moment, not the prince of the golden age, this moment he will discover invisible prince, completely independent from the whole physical story. He will realize, experience his alokkic dimension. He's conscious. Just as someone wakes up from the dream, then he is connected to his waking world. So the invisible prince knows of his waking world. He lives in that expanse. Right now we are experiencing this expanse of light. This is his world. He belongs here. This is also the home of the Supreme Friend, and this is the home of his true family. Invisible Prince means he has got everything. His world is alokkic and divine. Nothing inauspicious in his world. That's why, in a true sense, world of disbelief. If anyone is told that there can be a world where there is no sorrow, no desire save contentment and happiness and love and authentic virtue, everyone, always. Then many will say that is beyond belief. This world is like this. And on top of this, this world is eternal and a world with the God. Such is the reality of the invisible prince. If he is conscious, that world is right in front of everyone's nose. But to experience it, they have to be conscious. If they are not conscious, what happens? If this invisible prince is not even conscious, you can type. What happens when he is not conscious? All are souls, in other words, all are eternal princes. They all belong to the King of Kings.
Bigger programming or Maya takes over, trapped in bondages, full of sorrow. In the story and the story of the beggar, ruled by Maya, confused.
Good. In essence, ego becomes the master. This is the interplay. When the soul is not conscious, that second, ego is conscious. And ego is absolutely embodiment of bondage and embodiment of ignorance. He is absolutely in the story. He doesn't see story as a story. And he thinks there's progress, getting more in the story. So that is the ego-based life. So soul becomes conscious, game changes in a second. Our aim is, as we go through this next hour even, let us have this attention also. Subject, we will be understanding the subject of consciousness, subconsciousness, but our primary aim is to remain conscious, to keep the soul conscious. And also feel free to type your comments, questions, also encouragement for you to come in the light and cameras, make it more interactive. The subject of mind, the area of mind and subconscious mind is so central to all of us. Every human being, it is central because we are dealing with it 24 hours. Even when we are asleep, we are dealing with it. Just like this physical environment, we are dealing with it all the time. We can't escape this. In the same way, mind is something you are dealing with 24 hours. Can't escape. But the paradox of this is our education system is so busy going into such details about everything else, but there is no emphasis on the subject of the mind. For example, even the medical training, where 1/3 of the patients that they are going to see during their lifetime will be those with mind-connected problems, directly mind or psychosomatic. But in the training, if they are spending 7 years in their basic training, They may spend 2 weeks in the psychology, psychiatry department. And in the exams, you don't get any questions. So even those 2 weeks, they don't always remember, what happened during those 2 weeks. This is for doctors. And so if you are having training in law or something else, what chance you got to know about mind? Once we had a event in the psychology department, so professors from psychology, and we created some time for meditation. And at the end of the meditation, one lady got up and she said, actually, we don't know our own minds. She said, I was not able to focus even in the last 1 minute. And this is with the psychology department. Such is our society now. So it is nice to just have this even interest to know more about. And today our aim will be just to explore this, create a structure in which we can observe also mind and the subconscious. And there are different definitions of the mind, subconscious mind. Different psychologists use different. Freud uses the word unconscious. And Jung uses a nice term, which is collective unconscious. I'm not going into those details today, but some people don't like this term, collective unconscious. But there is some truth behind this. It sort of implies that we are in some way connected subconsciously, and collective unconscious, that is his word. That is Jung. We are going to use very, very simple structure. Right now, if you are recognizing something, involving something consciously, you are experiencing something, that is the conscious. But what we are also saying, everything that has happened to you in the lifetime, right from childhood, it is there somewhere. And we can broadly use the word subconscious for that. And it is not lost. It is there, maybe in a structured way or an unstructured way. It is in your, some stored system. It is there in the computer. And it affects your life. It affects your dreams. It affects your decisions. It affects your feelings, emotions, reactions, intuition. It affects your personality. So almost everything, you don't always take decisions totally logically, what seems right. There are other feelings that come, and they are coming from the subconscious. But this subconscious affects our health and our mental health, of course. So it is a huge, it is much more than the bottom end of the iceberg. It is more. And certainly useful for us to know. But our aim today is not just to know subconscious, but our aim is also how to get it healthy, how to truly heal the soul at all levels. So first we are going to see a short video for 5 minutes. Just a nice introduction to this subject of the subconscious.
There's no sound, so let me just...
The subconscious mind. How does the subconscious mind work? We have separate faculties of our mind that govern our behavior. If we take a moment to think about where you are, you can probably notice a few things. You can probably feel the feeling of your feet on the floor, or the feeling of your clothes sitting on your body, or even pain somewhere in the body. Is this conscious or subconscious? Well, when you feel it, recognize it, are aware of it, it becomes conscious. Recognition of something is the essence of being conscious of it. Therefore, if you have the intention of doing something with something that you recognize, you can do it quite easily, such as go and eat a sandwich because you are hungry, or to talk to a friend because you want to talk to them. We all have the ability to consciously choose our life. A thought enters our head and we act upon that thought. However, what about the things that you can't do or can't stop doing, such as eating too much, getting too lazy, getting shy or self-conscious when you don't want to, or being unable to give up something that you know is bad for you? In these two main parts of the body, the conscious and the subconscious, are very different characteristics. The conscious mind is aware. It is what we use to think with. It has a lot of mental activity. It is what we would call our mind or ourselves. If I want to do something, generally, I would use my conscious mind to organize myself to do the task. I can put one foot in front of the other when I walk. I can put one piece of clothing on at a time when I put my clothes on. I can choose to call a friend, or choose to take a particular job, or even choose to be with certain people in my life. However, this conscious mind is only concerned with actively doing things. It has no stored information. So if you can imagine the first time you walked, or the first time you ate, or the first time you talked to someone, the first time you learned to dress yourself, you would realize how much information you already have stored in your subconscious. Our memory is so large and so deep that things that happen to us when we are young are almost completely forgotten up until roughly the age of 4, 5, or 6. We may remember a few bits and pieces, but basically all those memories are stored in our subconscious mind because they do not serve any immediate purpose to be immediately recalled consciously. We live our lives and are basically forgetting upwards of 99% of all our daily activity. If we were to listen to a phone number being read out to use, we can hold that data consciously for about 10 seconds before it starts to fade. And the senses in our bodies, the 5 senses, survey trillions of bits of data every second as we walk around in the world. But most of this information is stored and held in the subconscious without it ever being recalled again. No information that is observed is lost entirely though, as hypnosis has proven that deep recall of insignificant events can be brought up if the focus is deep enough. And most of the time in the early stages of development, experiences lead to many significant changes in behavior and personal beliefs about ourselves and the world. The subconscious probably represents 90 to 95% of our behavior, but we think all our behavior comes from our conscious awareness. In reality, we drift in and out of consciousness all the time. So we don't realize how many decisions we make subconsciously. Now let me put this idea to you. What if you...
A good time to pause.
Yes. So that was just a little introduction, insight into this fascinating faculty we have got with lots and lots of information. And our intention to now is how to structure it properly and sensibly. For that, we are going to use the board, and you will see a board on your device. And let us see this whole apparatus of our mind, what is going on here in the image of a performance, drama performance. In other words, our mind, we are seeing it as a stage, drama stage. This is not a model that we talk about the physical world as a drama stage. We are saying the mind is like a stage that is one faculty within us somewhere. And if the mind is the stage, who are the actors who are performing on this stage? What would you call them? Thoughts, that's right.
Yeah.
So the thoughts are the actors on this stage. So different thoughts come. So these are the actors. Within this apparatus, our cognitive apparatus, there is another faculty there. And let us call that the king. There is a king there who is experiencing. So he is the experiencer, this king. So king is the one who is observing what is happening on this stage. You know, the performance, he is sitting to observe. So different thoughts come, and based on the thoughts, different performance. King has different feelings, emotions. King may be happy, unhappy. Now, behind the stage, what is happening behind the stage is the backstage. And make a guess, what is the name for this backstage? If the stage is called a mind, what will be the name for the backstage?
Subconscious.
Yes, and here is the subconscious mind. So here in this backstage, there are many, many players. These are different players here. Potential actors. And all these actors want to come on the stage. Just like any actor, he doesn't want to stay at home. He wants to come on the stage. And when he comes on the stage, what happens? That itself is like a nourishment for him. For the actor to come on the stage and feeds the actor, he becomes stronger. Just as say in your town, there may be a actor. You know, he has done the training in acting and he's an actor. There are many actors in the country. But if this actor in your town gets a job on the BBC, then he has got more chances of getting more jobs. You know, because once you are on the stage, it feeds. And now that he has become stronger, he has more chances to come on the stage. as was said, this mind is a stage. Everything is happening there. The subconscious is, the king is not experiencing the subconscious. King can only see the conscious. This mind is the conscious. That is where everything is happening. Also, another law here of this stage, only one actor can come on the stage at any one time. You will see in your mind, it is not possible for you to have 3 thoughts at the same time. They can come one after other, but there is just one actor on the stage at any one time. So these all actors are competing amongst themselves to come on the stage. In a fierce competition there. And the one that is a stronger one, he has more chances to come on the stage. So one actor has been on the stage, say 3 times, he has become stronger. And because he's stronger, he has more chances to come on the stage again. He can compete with others. He becomes a bully. And because he can come on the stage more often, that feeds him even further. That makes him strong. So it can create a feedback circle, a bit like virtuous for vicious. It just feeds one and it becomes a bully. Just like someone becomes a dictator and then he imprisons everyone else and he becomes even worse dictator. It is a bit like that. Some of these actors can become like dictators in this little system. That also explains why 90% of our thoughts are cyclical thoughts, helplessly. I came across one girl, she said, I have been thinking the same thought, same thing I have been thinking for the last 14 years. I just can't come out of it, thinking the same thing. This is the kind of situation these bullies can create within our mind. So we saw that there are different actors, potential actors in the backstage. Some of them get a chance to come on the stage, and then it becomes different. That feeds them further. They become stronger. So when you look at the subconscious, there are lots of information has gone in, we agree, but within that subconscious, there are some bullies. So they will influence our conscious mind a lot more. They interpret the information the way they like, these bullies. Within the subconscious, there are also good guys. They are sensible. Good guys here, those who are having wisdom. Bad guys are those who are operating with ignorance. And so it is just bizarre madness. So in any structure, it can be a company, it can be a family. Someone is operating with complete chaos, mental chaos. There is no truth. His all understanding is wrong. He feels timings are wrong. Dates are wrong. Days, place, everything is wrong. It affects the structure. It affects the unit. So here, these bad guys, their foundation, they got a wrong understanding of something, and down the line they become bad guys and create sorrow, give sorrow, that kind of situation. And then the king is the one who has to put up with with these bad guys performing chaos. And it is not just one bad guys. The one bad guy comes and another bad guy, he wants to take over. So there is a cacophony going on the stage instead of performance. So there are good guys, but these good guys may not get a chance to come on the stage at all. May not, that is also possible. They are there, but some of these bullies may not let them to come on the stage. So they are sitting there in the subconscious. Do you want to say anything? Feel free. You can type your comments. Now, if we were to just see this much, there is a cyclical pattern going on here. Some of the bad guys have become bullies and now they can come on the stage. It is a full circle. Then there was no hope of changing anything. But in any performance, in a drama performance, you need to have a stage. Agreed? There is a backstage. There are actors. There's audience. So all are here. There is an audience here. King is the audience. There is the stage. There is backstage, and there are actors. What else is required in a performance? Anyone else is required? Anything else is required? What?
You need light on the stage and director.
Good, very good. And so here also.
Script as well, story.
Good, very good. So here we also have a director in this drama. And this director is called the intellect. And this director, any performance, the director is always in charge of the stage. Nothing happens on the stage without the permission of the director. Director decides when actors should come on the stage, when he should leave, what he should do, where he should stand. Director is completely in charge as long as he is conscious. If the director himself is unconscious, then the drama is different. If the director is unconscious, asleep, then the bad guys take over. Or if the director is confused, then he takes, wrong decisions. So here now, if we are to change anything at a subconscious level, we will have to start with the director. We have to check if the director has got it right. To start with, is the director conscious? And is director confused? Or has he got things clear? That we have to first find out. And then once that is put in place, there is a hope of bringing about a change. Excellent. You want to add anything, say anything?
A little earlier, would you say that this bully that can make the stage, would you call it the survival of the fittest?
It is like that, yeah. Survival of the fittest applies here.
Does the subconscious store past life habits?
That's right. That explains how the habits are formed, and very much the subconscious influencing it. At a conscious level, he can tell what is right and what is wrong, and he knows something is, he knows the statistics, he knows the information. But there is this bully sitting there in the back, and he has a different positioning in the subconscious.
Is the backstage the same as sanskaras?
Yes. When we use the sanskars, that is also the word. Not completely, but sanskars are at that level.
How would you translate sanskaras?
The tendencies.
And are there like super consciousness or supra? Is it the intellect?
As we said, different people use different terminology, different traditions, but here we avoid those other terminologies.
How do things get into the subconscious? And is there a direct access?
Yeah, everything comes to the subconscious from the conscious. Nothing comes there directly. For example, what I experienced in the last hour, I consciously might have forgotten, but those impressions are there in the subconscious. As we said before, in a structured way or unstructured way, impressions are there, but then depending upon which bullies are there and which actors are in dominance, it can be interpreted, processed, and by the different bullies differently. The information can be interpreted, processed differently.
Does the director have a full view of the backstage and the stage?
Director, may not have the view of the backstage, but stage is very much he's dealing with the stage, but he can have a clear view of life, or he may be confused and have a distorted view of life. That is what we have to question. Is the director doing the job properly?
So I think you've answered this. Is there a direct access to the stage without first going into the subconscious? Does the intellect control access to the subconscious as well as the stage?
No, and everything is through the stage. Stage is the place where we can see what is happening. The place of interaction. The king can also see the stage. The director also deals with the stage, and the subconscious also deals with the stage. Actors deal with the stage. The stage is the place of interaction. Now let us come to the subject of the director. We said, director. It's a huge thing for us to be able to change the subconscious. Because changing the subconscious or healing of the subconscious will mean we have to remove these bad guys. Then it is healing. There are some of these bad guys, and can I remove them? If I am able to remove some of these bullies, then it will be like a freedom. It is we said the subconscious mind is the cause of our habits and addictions, and it is cause of our personalities and mental health, physical health, dreams. So the seed of all what is negative is here in the form of these bad guys. And it is good for us to remove this. It is also good for us to promote these good guys. this is like our immediate aim. Subconscious doesn't remain empty, but our aim is to bring in clarity there. Let these guys who are not confused, let them be in place. And with that wisdom comes happiness and sense and benevolence. They are useful to others. Just like in your company or in your office, someone who is sensible is useful to him, useful to others also, useful to the company. Someone who is confused, he is not useful to himself, not useful to others, but may create problem to others. Same happens here in the system. The cause of these bad guys is that ignorance. Now, the director, does he know about? He's taking directions. He's taking decisions for our whole apparatus. The main thing, mind, what is going to happen there? The intellect is the one who is taking decisions. Has he understood the map clearly? Now let us see the map. And that is what takes us to our the spiritual perspective. Spiritual perspective just means we are seeing the full map, not part map. And we are seeing the physical world, and we are seeing the souls, family of souls. We are aware of their temporary journey here. At a practical level, is the intellect seeing in clarity? And answer is no. Here is a world that is temporary world. This entire physical world, of my experience of it is going to be temporary. For example, if I visit someone's house for 5 minutes and I got other things to do after 5 minutes, and if the director gives me the impression I can own things in that house, buy things, claim things, when I have to leave in 5 minutes, then intellect is deceiving me, giving me the wrong information. It allows me to get stuck in that place, start using the word my to things when I am there just for 5 minutes. In the same way, at present, the intellect is deceiving us. I am passing through this, and intellect is completely blind of my exit, as if there is no exit. This is the way the intellect is operating. He feels, yes, you can go on collecting things, this is mine, and some people there are also mine, and this land is mine. I deeply believe it, so much so that he even feels the loss of it, feels that he is losing, and unfairness. All these feelings come. Becomes like a childish, even children may not behave like this, but we are asking, is there any element of this deception? And if that deception is there, it is because intellect allowed us to do that way, to think that way. In other words, intellect hasn't got the complete perspective. The director is confused. He is not seeing things the right way, the director. And as was said before, once the understanding is incomplete, the director allows and the bad guys to come on the stage. He is himself not confused. He can allow different attitudes to come, different thoughts to come. He allows that, director. But now we also know, okay, the director just need to understand the full map. We help him to see the way things are. Whole idea of yoga is just this. It is a knowledge given to the director. Director is understanding, okay, you yourselves are immortal and you got a home, you got a true family, eternal prince who belongs to the King of Kings. You got everything full and you are not a beggar here. You don't need to go there in the physical world as a beggar. You don't need anything. You are full. The director understands this picture. Now that is like a little insight for the director. If the director was really to get it right, then what will happen? The director truly understands. Yes, that is so obvious. I'm immortal. That and he doesn't need anything there. Then his attitudes will be different. Yeah, you want to tell if the director gets the full understanding, not just as a nice information, but the director comes out of confusion, fully clear, certain about this bigger map. How will it affect?
All the bad guys disappear.
Bad guys, yes. And is that all? He will bring in the good guys. And then the good guys come on the stage now. He is bringing a new way of seeing things, new thoughts, and new attitudes, and a new awareness that is coming on the stage. And if these new thoughts come on the stage, they are getting nourishment, they become strong.
Is this the way that we remove the bad guys, by replacing them with the good guys or elevated thoughts?
Yes, all that you need to do is just focus on the good guys and bring them on the stage. And as you are bringing them, it is almost like the recording. Say there is a tape, and that was one recording on it. You did a new recording. The old recording is wiped out. Now there is a new recording on it. Something similar happens here. Once you bring in the light, that itself removes the darkness. Once you are seeing things with the new attitude of clarity, it removes the old attitudes and old habits based on ignorance. As an example, say there was a person, I'm giving very gross examples, a person who is a bit difficult, maybe offending you, creating problem, giving you bad words. Each time he sees you, he gives you some insulting words. And as you see he's insulting, you get a certain reaction. You may not get into a fight, but at least you are not having love for him. You are trying to avoid him. Something, this kind of reaction is going on. Okay. So this is the old pattern. Let us say the intellect comes to know that the person who is offending you, he had a head injury, some years earlier, and since then he's behaving like this. Before that, he was a very sensible, very nice person, very good. But this is a new situation after the head injury. Just new information has come. Now, what will be your attitude when next time you see him? It will not be of negative reaction will not happen. Now you will be having a feeling of mercy because he had a head injury and because of that he is doing it. You got new knowledge, new information, and this new information changes your attitude instantly. And now you feel, what was it all about? He's he needs help. Same happens here. Say there is a person who might be worse than just bad thoughts. They might be, robbers and whatever they are doing, and affecting your life. And now you got a knowledge, and what is the knowledge? Is the angelic soul, divine, and we are meaning in a divine, angelic means immensely lovely, childlike, innocent, harmless. That is what that soul is, and he's playing a part on the stage, part of a dragon. He could be given a part of a villain. It can be a part. Just a part is given, but he himself is angelic soul, divine and royal, childlike and godlike. They're good. He is a very good. Right now, not that he was good in the past. Right now, he's good. But part is different. Sometimes part can be of a joker. Part can be. Okay, so you got the information. Does it change straight away? Your attitudes, will it change the sanskaras? Answer is no. It is nice, knowledge is there, but next time you see him, your old reactions will still come, because you personally, there was a loss created or problem created, so that is what was going on in the past. So just because you heard the knowledge doesn't mean your reactions will change. But you can use the director and change your attitude for 1 minute. That is possible for you. It will not just happen because you got a knowledge. It's instantly everything. Not necessarily. But we have the option to bring about this change for us. 1 minute, half a minute, you can have a different attitude. First time you are bringing about this change, there will be resistance. Understand? You are changing the sanskaras, there will be resistance because all the bullies, they want to do their reaction. They are in charge. They want to have their own attitude and own thoughts. So you are using the director, understanding of the director, to enforce this new attitude for 1 minute against resistance. Know that there will be resistance first time. Okay, you did it for 1 minute. For 1 minute you are seeing his noble soul, he's lovely, he's my brother, and this is just a part he's playing. Okay, but there is a soul behind. You brought in this attitude for 1 minute. What will happen? Having done that, that good guy, he gets nourishment because you brought him into action. That good guy has come on the stage as a result. He becomes stronger. And you have already started changing the sanskara. He's becoming stronger. So tomorrow you see that person, there is a good chance now this new good guy has more chances of coming on the stage because you started already. And you, each time you are doing it, you are bringing this good guy onto the stage. What we are seeing here, the director himself by itself, you got information, you got knowledge, itself will not change the subconscious. The most important factor here is first action. You have to act based upon that understanding, even once. Once you have started acting in that way, it starts the journey upward. And then it is on the rails, then the good guy is naturally stronger. And you don't have to think again, you will automatically, react. Your attitudes are of a certain kind. Same principle applies to changing sanskaras based upon anger, greed, lust, addictions, whatever are your sanskaras. This is the principle. Let the intellect director understand what exactly is the perspective in full knowledge. What is the perspective here? And bring it in. You don't need to be in front of the person, but even from a distance, try and bring in that behind that person is the soul. And in every situation, some situations come in your life, and okay, that is a situation. What is the perspective in full knowledge? Try and see that perspective in full knowledge. Let that attitude and feelings be experienced for 1 minute. This program of 1 minute, it becomes like the first action, and you are giving chance to these good guys to come on the stage and replace the bad guys. You want to add anything? Say anything?
Comment. So is it seeing past Ravan, ignoring Ravan, and seeing the qualities of the soul?
As was mentioned, and not superficially, sometimes this language exists, but fully you are seeing the soul, not just as the qualities of the soul. You are seeing the soul, the greatness of the soul. In principle, what was said was
right. A question, if I can understand it, when you're speaking of changing the director, who are you referring to? Does that make
changing
sense?
the intellect, bringing in knowledge in the intellect. What we are also saying here, one person might have read books and understand things, and it might not necessarily change the sanskars, even though he understands everything or he knows the answer. And all that was missing is that first action. He has to bring in, based upon understanding, start changing, to introduce the new way of seeing things, new way of feeling things, new kind of attitude towards things. If you see great people, even a recent example, Nelson Mandela, he was not the same person 20 years earlier or 30 years earlier. He brought about a huge shift in his attitude. And how did that happen? Did it happen just by random, by chance? No, at some point he introduced this new way of looking at things, and then it matured. It became more stronger, and then it became his personality.
Is the king watching or the intellect? The king.
All the time, every experience is happening in the king. We are just showing these different functions within the soul. All these are faculties within the soul. So within the soul is the experiencer. This king is the experiencer. So right now, something within us is experiencing. Something within us is taking decisions, and we call him intellect or director. And something within us, there are all the information stored, but not in a conscious way. We call them the subconscious or backstage. So these are all different faculties within the soul.
Mm.
But you are right, intellect is not the experiencer.
And the question earlier, to clarify, who or what is it that's actually changing the intellect? Is it the king?
Changing the knowledge, information, understanding. Ultimately, it is the intellect. It is the soul, but we are saying the faculty of the soul is the intellect that understands, that makes sense, that can also have misunderstanding. So we are giving this knowledge and understand things, and based on that, he then takes decisions.
So who is controlling that is the question that is being asked.
But bottom line is the soul.
And the soul, if the soul is unconscious, it would be the ego.
Within us, there is this unconscious state is going on, but the whole process of knowledge makes it conscious. So it is never a time it is constantly unconscious. Someone is asleep, but some light comes, he wakes up, he falls asleep again. That is going on. Not to go too much into once we understand at a practical level, then to move on. Because once we understand, okay, the knowledge is important for this intellect. This is practical, then move on.
Are sanskars the same as habits?
We use the word sanskar for tendencies, which is different to habit. For example, I may have a tendency to react in a certain way, in a certain situation. I might not use the word habit for that. I might have a tendency to drive fast when I am late at work. So I might not call it a habit. The habit is used for something different.
Would repeated sanskara make a habit?
Sanskar is used slightly differently. Tendency is a better word.
Okay.
But it is the same. Habit also is formed the same way, and sanskaras are formed the same way. Repeat actions create habits and sanskaras.
There are lots of questions today, which is great. Do you want more at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. are the memories of the whole cycle in the backstage, or would deities have less actors and actors increase as time passes?
Everything is there in the backstage. As you saw in the video, under hypnosis, lots of information can be brought out, which means that information is there somewhere and it is in the subconscious. But it is in an unstructured way in the Iron Age. In the deities, it will be structured differently, because there are no bad guys to interpret and misinterpret things. These bad guys have got this perversion, they distort everything. Whereas when the good guys are in the subconscious, they process information differently. So that may be the real difference between deities and the humans.
Okay, interesting. Someone said earlier, I had an experience recently, even though my intellect was aware of what was going on, I just couldn't control my subconscious, couldn't even recognize myself. What was going on?
Yeah, as was said, intellect may know many things, but subconscious can be changed only if we first act. We have to, there is an active process of changing the subconscious with the help of the intellect. And I would like to encourage, we all know there are certain sanskaras within us, or some sanskars we want to change. Based on what we have discussed today, think of what area you need to change. You understand with intellect what is the old bad guys, what is their interpretation, and what will be the interpretation of the good guy. Draw a map. You want to take a paper, draw this, what exactly is going on, and then make your plan. And you don't need to be in the situation. Bring about this experimentation, prayog. And in this experimentation, you are just seeing how this whole situation will be interpreted if you are in full knowledge. With the paras intellect, what will you be seeing? What will you be feeling? What attitude will be there? Try and get a full perspective for 1 minute. And then nourish that sanskar, nourish that attitude, a few times. If it is done, it is like a homework you are doing. And when you are in the real situation, then see if the reactions are different, attitudes are different. Gives us an insight and hope of bringing about a real transformation.
Someone just typed, I tried that, but don't know what triggers those things in the subconscious.
Yeah, just the intellect, we have to see that it needs fine-tuning, maybe. Sometimes this language, earlier the language, see the good qualities in the soul. That is superficial. That is not enough. We need to see the soul, not mixing it with the role. The things like that, So, if the understanding the knowledge is very clear, then it will have its own sanskaras. Like, here, you literally seeing that everyone else is invisible, alokik, and the role is something completely different. So that is a different attitude than saying that Freddy is I'm seeing his good sanskaras of the soul, good qualities of the soul in Freddy, and you are then operating with body consciousness and just putting a label soul somewhere. So that's why I'm saying it is check if I'm mixing body consciousness in the old from the old thinking. Reason says that if the knowledge is understood, some refining may be necessary, fine-tuning is necessary, then it will have its own sanskaras. If the intellect understands properly, then it has its own sanskaras.
Like
I'm happy to create rooms, but if you got another question, that's also okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are still half a dozen questions, but I think this may be a good time to pause. It feels like a really clear message of the quality that replaces the body conscious tendencies, unmixed soul consciousness. Would you like to pose a question that might help frame the start off for conversations for rooms?
Are there any sanskars anyone want to change?
Yes. We have a quick discussion. Anything else?
Yes.
How?
Yes. Where do we start?
It's good. So something food for thought. Yes. So we just put that in the chat. That will help, I'm sure, trigger the conversation. So enjoy while staying in that high perspective, seeing all the souls. And if you're able to come into camera, it's a nice way to meet in the rooms. If you're in the wrong room, you can actually change or you can press help. So we'll see you shortly. Enjoy. Hello, welcome back. Well, so everyone is joining back in, invitation to come into the quality experience of this practical side. Before we continue, Thank you. I like this analogy. If you're going to drive to a new place, there's a lot of effort mentally to do it. I mean, even if you've got the right tools, the sat nav and everything. You've never done it before, so it's like a new track. But once you've done it once, next time you might remember half of the route. So it's like already half there, and it's just remembering. So in the same way, this aspect of bringing in a new habit is some sort of resistance from that, but doing it once, then repeating is so much easier. So I think this point, including the point that a new recording overwrites the old recording. So in the new habit, it's the same. It's like replacing the old. I really enjoy that because it's a different approach to the analysis approach. Not that we are ignoring anything. We need to see as much as we can, but we don't need to fix it through analysis, but rather yoga is on what we want to create and what we want to bring in. Also knowing there can be little resistance to something new, but knowing that ahead of time, putting those methods in place to have a little persistence and spiritual understanding and power. So there are many things that came up, but that's one aspect that I enjoyed. And I think in the discussion there was a lot of richness, and I'd be happy to hear if you want to write in the chat anything that came up. Thank you. So, come back to Vishant.
Sure. Hello. Let us create another minute where we come to that perspective of the full light. When we use the word paras, we give ourselves permission to see in 100% clarity. And when we see in 100% clarity, we understand this time, right now, what we are seeing is a story, fixed, repeating story. There is not a great wisdom in thinking about a story. And we understand the world beyond the story. This is the world that matters. And as was said before, this is a world of disbelief. To start with, it is a world with God and world of immortality. But this is also the world of truth, which means this is the real world. It also means many are living in a story, living in Cinderella. It is not academic, some understanding. It is a wasted life. Even the concept of the self, and we say invisible soul, invisible player, he has the concept of the true self. It also means there are many who have concept of the false self. Even the idea of the self itself is completely distorted. They are working for Cinderella, thinking that is the self. we see it, this is not just an information, it's like a huge shift. Not just for a few minutes, it has to be normal. It is not just a meditation experience. We are seeing how this waking state can be natural. For the invisible player, everyone is good. And when he says everyone, he is seeing the invisible brothers behind the story. They are harmless and desireless, and egoless, sorrowless, selfless. We are not just saying this, but when we use paras, we are seeing this, experiencing it. Anyone who is out of the story is out of the demon. They are free from this Ravan-based sanskaras. So everyone is lovely, but on an extraordinary level. They are divine and alaukic, godlike, and childlike. It's a region of joy and love. All we have done is use the right intellect, and everything changes, game changes. As we continue on our journey, we just remain conscious. That is our effort. Create this environment of paras. The environment of paras favors the soul. Thank you. I know there are some questions, and it will be nice to hear comments and questions.
Yeah, some very rich sharing in the room. I'm sure there's a lot that can be shared with the group. But some questions here. Just a short one. Just earlier when you were commenting, was it everything comes through the conscious into the subconscious, or is it the other way around?
Mm-hmm. Everything, the entry is always the conscious.
Yeah.
And it is a bit like I have to first experience it in a conscious way, only then it can be filed. It is like some letters are coming. First, it is seen by someone and then it is filed. Without experiencing it, they don't get filed, not registered.
This discussion about seeing the soul, is it okay to see the soul but choose not to interact with the person? Is it a spiritual choice?
Yes, of course. The family is so big, and all are our brothers. We are not able to interact with everyone. But if you are talking about personal situations, at least in your experiment, change. If there is a feeling of uneasiness with someone, change it. Then that is good for you to start with. You are first seeing that there is you are seeing through knowledge. And when you are seeing through knowledge, you are seeing there is a drama script of a certain kind. No one has a choice there. Someone acting as a big dictator and playing that part. That is the script. Poor fellow, he has got that part to play. And the one who is playing that part is my brother. We can't have a feeling of dislike towards anyone, even an animal. These are all drama parts. Behind all are lovely and brothers. So we have to transform. And feel it for 1 minute and let it go. It goes in the subconscious. And in its own time, it will grow. Create this 1 minute, 1 minute. Wherever there is sort of old sanskars, which is not pleasant, to experiment with them.
Very nice. It seems the gentle approach and the sensitive also, it's aligned with the nature of the soul, and evoking what is natural, but seeing it as experimental. Few questions. When the soul consciousness is developing, what is the role of the subconscious?
In this process, subconscious is not playing the part. Whatever you are doing, this is conscious process. To grow in soul consciousness is conscious. It will influence the subconscious.
And a question here about sleep. Does sleeping late in the morning increase the power of sanskars? Should we wake up early at 4 a.m. to stop the repeating of the subconscious files?
If you are talking about dreams, and it is seen, in some studies, that if you sleep in the early morning hours, same hours of sleep, say someone sleeps 6 hours or 8 hours, but one person gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, another person gets up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Both are sleeping same number of hours. One who wakes up late, he gets more REM sleep, which means he gets more dreams. Those who sleep early, go to bed early, wake up early, they tend to have more delta rhythm sleep. So which is like a more relaxing sleep, deeper sleep, and less dreams. So that might influence some other things indirectly. So early to bed, early to rise is a good practice.
Thank you. That's very clear and practical. When we are experiencing our dreams, is that from the subconscious? They appear sometimes very real.
Yeah, dream is such a phenomena, not ever, in various studies also. Difficult to know what exactly is happening, why the dreams, where they are coming from. But subconscious will have a lot of influence there. Like if you have never thought about, mathematics, you will not get dreams of mathematics. I met one professor of mathematics. He said his nightmares are mathematics equations not getting solved. That these are his nightmares. They are not my nightmares. So there is subconscious is having some influence on the dreams.
Yeah, very interesting. And in the philosophy, it's often said, even in your dreams, you don't have X, Y, Z thoughts, or vice, probably. Could you explain more about how remaining conscious is central, even when we sleep?
Yes, if as we saw in those sketches, if the subconscious is all good guys, then the chances of having nightmares based on certain mathematics, or it can be robbers, they will be less. If it is 100% clean, then definitely there will be different kind of dreams. As was said, the subconscious does influence the dreams, but some dreams that they say 15% of the dreams, they are called prophetic dreams. I mean, they come from somewhere else, and they have a fact, based upon sometimes future. So it is not based upon your subconscious.
Yes, you answered a couple of questions in that sentence. Yeah, we'll question here, are premonitions connected at all to the subconscious? But you're saying no, even in our conscious waking life?
Yes, it is. It is not in the subconscious premonition. If it is correct, accurate premonition, it was not there. So you get it from beyond.
So another question, what do you think about the sub-personalities described in psychosynthesis?
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's not, don't know, but not relevant. We don't need to go into this. Our discussion is just how we can get our soul purified. We don't need to go into the other details.
Yeah, it's an approach to psychology with a very different model. From a different model. So I actually think we don't have any other questions, but if we've missed anything, do feel free to share in the chat or send a mail. So we do have a few minutes left if there's something you'd like to add or share, Prashant.
Yes, yeah. As an experiment for the rest of during this period, weekend, let us understand extraordinary nature of our truth. We showed that sketch, Paras sketch, but that is like a world beyond the gross. We just use this unlimited intellect. When we say Paras, it means it includes the unlimited intellect. And on that scale, the whole physical world becomes very small. That's why we use the word story. Cinderella, it is not anything different than Cinderella. As small as Cinderella, and also insignificant as Cinderella. During these minutes, we give ourselves this chance to go beyond the details and details of the drama. Otherwise, everyone is locked in the drama for different reasons. Here, you give yourself this chance to step beyond. Then it is Paras. If one is still dangling in the drama, then it is not paras, then it is patthar. Paras necessarily means you are seeing the alokik as normal and important. This is the reality. It is all different. Alokik means unearthly, different to the physical. And we are saying this is not just academic. This is our world, our true family, life with God, our father, friend. And in this world, there are no vibrations of desire and disappointment. No one needs anything from anywhere. It is a world of immortality, world beyond harm. These aspects remain the foundation of these divine personalities. They are immortal, they are beyond harm, they need nothing. So that's why there is no beggar and no victim. Never a beggar, never a victim. What remains is noble, those with noble personalities. All and always. Silently they know they got the best at every level. Best family, best father, best home, best treasures. They are full. That's why they lack nothing and they need nothing. They also see perfection. Everyone is perfect. Feeling is perfect. They don't feel something should be different. Everyone is perfect. Self is perfect. Father is perfect. Perfect home. But perfect drama also. From that angle, they see the story is just right. They don't feel the story should be something different, nothing matters. As we go through the rest of the journey, we remember this extraordinary truth of everyone. More we experience this, we create light in this dimension. And it will be easy for others to experience it. This strength of this noble personality is required to remove the sanskars of the beggar and victim. We're underlining this is not just a meditation experience. We are seeing this as normal. For the invisible player, this is his world. Story is the external thing. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Just want to acknowledge the questions which have come. We're saving them for tomorrow. But one question for Prashant. Was there some homework? Did you mention?
Yeah, something we spoke just now. To come back to this, that noble, and we use the expression divine royals. Such is the truth. And to experience that side, that will be good homework for us.
Okay.
As a hobby, the more important for us to get into hobby of these practices.
Thank you. Perfect. We can create time now for a few words from Madhavan, from Bhaktada, and we'll close today. Thank you so much.
Our